Now, our next big topic, and this is, we'll just go on for a few minutes and then end with this, is this notion of the messianic secret. Any of you that have read the book of Mark know that this can be a problem, okay? Why did Jesus tell people not to tell who he was, okay? So what is the messianic secret? Why did Jesus tell people not to tell what he did? He'd heal somebody, and then he says, hey, don't tell anybody about it. Actually, usually when he says, don't tell anybody about it, what do? They go out and tell everybody. Okay, so some people think it's kind of reverse psychology. Jesus said, don't tell anybody, so that they would tell them. No, I think you got to be careful with that approach and stuff. But Jesus does, and if you've read it, you've probably wondered, why does Jesus say this? Let me just give you a couple examples. Mark chapter 3, verse 11 says this. When the evil spirits saw him, they fell down before him and cried out, you are the Son of God. Now, what clearer statements? You've got demons falling down saying, you are the Son of God. But he gave them strict orders not to tell who he was. Mark chapter 3, verse 11. Here's one from over in Mark chapter 1, verse 44. This is when Jesus is healing some lepers. Okay, he's going to heal some lepers, people with leprosy. And then Jesus sent him away at once with a strong warning. See that you don't tell this to anyone, but go, show yourself to the priests, and offer the sacrifices that Moses commanded for your cleansing as a testimony to them. Okay? So see that you don't tell anyone about this. Go show yourself to the priest. Instead, he went out and began to talk freely, spreading the news. As a result, because this guy went out and broadcast this stuff, it says Jesus could no longer enter the town openly. So that apparently the crowds got so bad he couldn't handle it because, this guy had spread this stuff all around. So how do you work with this thing called the messianic secret that Jesus asked people not to say anything? And what I want to do is I want to basically suggest to you that this is not a monolithic concept, that it actually involves three different audiences that Jesus addressed this thing and said, don't tell anyone, to three particular audiences. One of the audience will be the ones that he heals. He'll say that to the ones that he heals. And it was the leper. You saw that he told the leper, don't tell anyone. He cleanses them of their leprosy, and he says, go show yourself to the priest. The priest will declare you clean or unclean, as was the Old Testament way of doing that. So he tells the ones that are healed not to do that. Now, why did Jesus tell them not to do that? And why does he tell them to go to the priest to do that? I think Jesus did not want to be known as a magician. That Jesus did not want to be known as a magician, nor did he want people necessarily coming to him just because he was a magician and would do some magic on them. And so therefore, because these people were being healed, he didn't want all that. And one of the problems we see right here is that when the people who were healed went out, that Jesus could no longer enter into the town. The crowds were so big that he couldn't even get into the town. And so Jesus, I think, said basically keep it down, because he's not wanting to be known as a magician. And so I think with the healed ones, he says, okay, I know I've healed you, but don't go telling everybody, because I don't want the expectation there that I'm just going to heal everybody and I'm a magician and that kind of thing. Second group of category of persons or whatever that he tells not to say anything are the demons. And he tells the demons several times, the demons fall down and say, you are the Son of God. Jesus says, don't say anything. Okay? And I think the demons, I think it's basically the reason for not telling the demons to say who he is, because the demons represent Satan and all the forces of evil. And he's saying that's bad PR, man. I don't want to be approved in these demons telling who I am, because the demons, that's bad PR. It'd be like, saying, Hitler says you're a nice guy, Well, yeah, really. Hitler says I'm a nice guy. Mao Zedong says I'm a nice guy after he kills 60 million people. Well, I don't really care what Mao Zedong thinks about me, okay? Because that's bad PR. If somebody bad says something nice about you, then that must mean probably you're bad. So anyways, the demons, okay? The demons, he says, I don't want that kind of PR that the demons are giving me this, because the demons are liars and deceivers and evil, and everybody knows they're evil and stuff, and so I don't want that evil word. So he tells the demons, no. You don't tell people I'm the Son of God. That's not in your domain. And then lastly, even the disciples, and this is interesting. Let me see if I can pull this verse here for you. Chapter 9 with the disciples. Yeah. Okay. 9 in Mark chapter 9, verse 9, Jesus says to them, Jesus says to his disciples, not to tell anyone what they had seen. They had just seen the transfiguration. This is in chapter 9 of Mark. Transfiguration had just happened. Jesus says not to tell anyone what they had seen until the Son of Man had risen from the dead. They were not to tell anyone until the Son of Man had risen from the dead. Now, what does that mean? I think largely that the disciples had very little clue about Jesus. The disciples, in many places, Jesus says, you guys still don't understand about the leaven? You still don't understand about this stuff? The disciples did not understand. They're up on the transfiguration. They're wanting to make 3 huts for Moses, Elijah, and Jesus. They still have no clue really who he is and what he's really designing to do. And as the Son of God, as the Son of Man. And so largely he says, wait a minute. Disciples don't tell anyone until after the resurrection. After the resurrection, they will have a vision, true vision of what Jesus, who he was and what he was destined and what he was calling them to do. And so I think with the disciples, it's a matter of understanding until they get the enlightenment of the resurrection. So you get these 3 groups of people being addressed with this messianic secret thing, saying keep it under your hat. The healed ones, Jesus doesn't want to be known as a magician. The demons, he doesn't want their approval and that kind of thing because of the bad associations. And the disciples largely because the disciples they need to understand the full picture of who he is before they go out and tell about the transfiguration, and then later they would understand that better. So that's as far as I wanted to get in the book of Mark today. So we've looked at the person of Mark, his relationship with Paul, his relationship with Peter. We've looked at Mark in terms of the deity of Christ in those first few verses and how he quotes this prophecy of Isaiah that turns out to be from Exodus, from Malachi, and from Isaiah, and wonderfully presents Jesus Christ as the one who the way is prepared before as God, as Jehovah. And then we examined the term Son of Man, and we've looked at the term Son of Man, and we've also now looked at the Messianic secret. And those 2 things are really important in the book of Mark. Okay, well, we'll call it quits there, and we'll pick up and finish the book of Mark next time. Thanks for joining us. This is Dr. Ted Hildebrandt in his New Testament History, Literature, and Theology course, lecture number 10, on the book of Mark, the Son of Man and the Messianic Secret.